Hi Sagittarius, and welcome to your May 2023 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about your month ahead. I hope you're all doing really well. I'm excited to be coming on and reading for you in what looks like a pretty pivotal month ahead. We have a lot to talk about in the usual format with intuitive messages, week-to-week tarot forecast, and an extended reading linked below on Patreon. So let's dive into it, Sagittarius. Okay, I feel that you're sort of on the brink of a major life shift, as usual. Yeah, that's pretty typical for Sagittarius lately. But I think that, we've kind of been talking around over these last few months about how you're kind of distancing yourself from that Jupiter and Capricorn era that was happening in 2020, which might have led you to maybe sign yourself up or overcommit yourself, overdo yourself, and be too many people for too many people. That looks to really be in full effect this month. So definitely trying to get ahead of anything that you might resonate with there. So like if you know that there's some kind of like overcommitment or things which are built on really unsturdy foundations, you might go ahead and start finding solutions for that now, or continue to follow through on implementations connecting to those solutions in May. As you can see, you have the Judgment card and the Tower card as your two major arcanas. And then you have, with minor arcana, some pretty strong energies, the 10 of Wands, the 5 of Wands, the 6 of Swords, the 8 of Cups. So it's maybe a final push looking kind of month, or it's a final kind of like... I'm definitely seeing some Sages in June, okay, next month, coming in and being like, yes, May was the last month I did that. May was the final month of that specific workflow or of that specific commitment being exactly like that. So it's good to know that there might be a change or some kind of reduction coming in. I think that your sign, more than any other sign in the zodiac, needs something like that. And it's the hardest for Sagittarius to cut back or to scrape things off the plate. Again, you're an expansive sign, so you want to add more, or you want to grow. And I feel that your growth is very contingent now on these reductions that need to come in this month. It doesn't have to be bad, it doesn't have to be hard, but I will prepare you that there is some kind of like realization from other people about who you are, or realization of other people about what you are responsible for. So accountability, responsibility, the Judgment card, the Tower card, anything that you're responsible for maybe not being safe enough. So for example, being an employer without specific kinds of insurance, or without specific kinds of like protocols or policies about, what happens like if an employee gets injured, or what happens, if there's like a natural disaster. It's important to think about these contingencies, okay? I think that your month is also somewhat about contingencies. So if this falls through, what then? Knowing backup plans, knowing also drills, okay, fire drills for a building if you're like an employer, having certain things that we don't maybe think about as a part of our enterprise or part of our business starting to be established now. So it's not the most glamorous thing. But I feel that ever since maybe 2020 with Jupiter and Capricorn, you've been working with these types of like very Capricorn oriented things. And you can kind of get some of that in place here, to the extent that you don't have to struggle so much, or you don't have to like also be so unprepared or so reliant on good weather, or reliant also on people with good intentions. All right. Yes, sometimes bad weather happens. Sometimes there are people who take advantage. Sometimes there are people who fake injuries to get compensations. Okay, so we want to have like the proper infrastructures for things like that. Because there could be some kind of weird like black swan thing for some Sagittarius in like the third week of the month. We of course have the Tower and the 5 of Wands, and this can be great. This can be like also a proof of like how prepared you are, or a proof of like how much of a leader you can be during times that are like a little bit rough, or like something has been stretched too thin, something has gone too far, and you're here to like fix it, versus like you being maybe the person whose choices led to that breaking point, or led to that difficulty. So kind of getting into all of these, like, again, contingencies, I feel is what your month of May is about. On the other side of things, Sagittarius, from a brighter perspective, You will probably not have to worry so much after this month because something's going to correct itself. Something is going to be a non-issue after this month. So that's very much what the Tower is about, right? Like no one looks forward to it. No one wants to go through it. No one wants to deal with it. But it does mean that you have a certain like thing that you don't have to worry about anymore, that you know has happened and is no longer like, oh my gosh, I'm just so worried that XYZ is going to happen. And then you might actually find that it was never that bad of a thing, or that it was never that much of a problem. What was the problem was like an unwillingness to fix it, or an unwillingness to like create a better system or resolve things. So definitely look at resolutions this month. Look at what you can do to resolve as many small things as possible, and create some more sort of like grand resolution through these like smaller resolutions. I do feel that many of you have too much on your plate. 10 of Wands, 5 of Wands, fighting to have all this stuff on your plate. Does it make sense? Is there a more wieldy or sensible or logical or leverage-based way that we can carry this weight? Maybe it's nice to put all those wands and the 10 of Wands onto like a trailer and drive the truck rather than carrying it ourselves up the mountain. So stuff like that, thinking about upgrades, thinking about updates, thinking about having a little bit more leverage in your life seems integral to not having this kind of like fragility here. All right. So thinking about that symbolically too, not just thinking about that like physically or materially, but also like maybe with coping mechanisms or with mindsets. Do these mindsets, do these like stories that I'm telling myself make sense? Is this like a 10 of Wands? Am I putting too much on my back with like the narrative I'm creating for myself? How can this be easier? Looking for more ease, looking for more sense, also consensus. Okay, so having other people who've maybe done what you've done before and have an easier time understanding advice from them could be good. It's a good month for getting advice. It's a good month for making things sturdier, for making things more, in some cases, status quo, but in other cases, just more well done or well enforced. All right. Let's talk about your week-to-week Sag. Week number 1, the Judgment card, rooted down by the King of Swords. Great. I love the first week of May for you all. You're waking up to something and you're getting like idea after idea. Try to keep like a scratch pad by you or something so that you can write these ideas down. You're having this like feeling of like, okay, I was in the dark for such a long time. I didn't understand what I was dealing with. And this is collective right now, like not knowing what we're participating in, not knowing what we're contributing to. And now you understand, and in a more zoomed out way, what you're actually dealing with. And you can better formulate your responses or your solutions based on that zoomed out perspective versus like being so like, that's why 10 of Wands is not good. You can't see anything through 10 of Wands, right? It's too much to deal with. So try to weed through that and maybe delegate or zoom out more because these types of messages or these types of insights are coming through for you. Also, there's some kind of aid. Sometimes I like to see the Judgment card as like something coming to help or something coming to like give as well. So you could receive some kind of financial assistance, or you might receive just an understanding that's really a wealth for you, a wealth of understanding, a wealth of aid, a wealth of help can come in the first week. Week number 2, the 8 of Cups, rooted down by the 6 of Swords. Both representing similar emotions. They're both like moving the opposite direction. They're both moving away from something. Yeah, so you're figuring something out about something you've been involved in, and it's making you want to go the other direction. I want you guys to know that this is like not just you. This is like across the board for most people, as part of the 2023 year cycle deals with an aha moment about like, oh, that's what I'm involved in, or that's what this is. That's how this business works. That's how this is beneath the surface. And a lot of people want to turn and walk away. It works better for some people than others. Try to not get impulsive with it, but I'm going to say, Sagittarius, there's something you need to walk away from in the second week. The 6 of Swords and the 8 of Cups together, it's too much archetypal motion in the opposite direction. So think about that. Journal about that. What's something that I need to step away from in my life? For those of us who are super loyal, if you've got like a lot of Capricorn in your chart, or you've got a lot of Virgo, a lot of Scorpio, super loyal to things, this is where it gets problematic. where it's like, I don't like it, I want to move away from it, but I've put so much into it and I don't want to lose that, and I want to show people how consistent and stable and loyal I am, but I don't want to be here. Anything that's like that, that's like suffering. I don't like that. We need to resolve those things. And please, Sagittarius, do not just put that bridle on and accept that that's how you have to live. It's not how you have to live. There are ways that we can get ahead of this. I've talked a lot on this channel about some of those intricacies, some of those nuances. Like in some cases, yes, people have to do it for a little while, save up and move on, or they have to like just bolt, or they have to like find new mindsets to think differently about what they're doing. All of these are ways that it can be done, but I think that in some way, what I've also seen a lot of people doing this year, multiple psychic messages coming in at once. What I've also seen a lot of people doing this year is like documenting it or knowing it or writing it down, making it very real, making it very tangible, that they're not happy. And some people who are even smarter than that are putting deadlines. Okay, maybe it's not feasible. Maybe it's not possible to step away from things right now. But I do see a lot of people strategizing separations, okay, strategizing breakups, strategizing quitting jobs, strategizing dissolving businesses, strategizing retirement. I actually really don't like this energy line anymore. I've been channeling this through for quite a long time. It's probably been since like 2021 that I'm getting something like this through, where it's like all of this thinking and all of this strategizing and all this energy going into like how things could be, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it quite yet. I don't like it. It's like 1 foot in and 1 foot out. It's very between energy lines and therefore very disempowered. So I understand that there's like a reality and there's a material earth plane and there's like society and things that are like real. And I understand that it's the only choice for some people, but I do want you guys to know this frustration of it. Like if that's what you're going through, like try to not glamorize it, try to not romanticize it. And I would definitely step off the credit cards. I would step off any of the like things that like in any way jeopardize these plans and stretch out these like in between phases. Because I'm definitely seeing a lot of people, okay, getting comfortable in those in between places on those bridges, and which is very frightening to me, where people are kind of like, yes, I've got this plan where I'm eventually going to quit this job and I'm eventually going to do what I really want to do. But in the meantime, I'm going to get my credit card out. I'm going to kind of just like fly by the seat of my pants, and I'm going to just like rest and relax. And I think that that's a trauma response. That's not a strategy. Boom. Okay. So that's what we really need to know, Sagittarius. Are these like wants to like move the other direction a strategy, or are they a trauma response? Because maybe if they're the latter, we need to get into therapy. Okay, we need to like maybe at least know that for what it is. And how we know it's a trauma response is, okay, I'm actually creating basically a padded recovery center for myself, and nothing outside of that is really right, but I'm allowing it, or I'm keeping it the same to basically facilitate some type of like trauma recovery. That's not a bad thing, but we do need to know that that's what it is, and we don't need to disguise it up as like some kind of like, oh, it's just like an in-between phase of my life, or I'm just like trying to put one foot in front of the other. And we need to know that, okay, there's some kind of really strong latent trauma, and I've got to really target that. And that's actually more appropriate to set up these other constructs in life where it's like, okay, yeah, maybe the job isn't perfect, but it is facilitating this recovery process, and I can like work with it in a responsible way, and not overwork, not overdo it, not get crazy with it, but I can facilitate a trauma recovery. That's more appropriate than like thinking, okay, I want to like save up over a really long period of time, and I'm getting like lazy with it, or I'm like spending more than I should so I can get somewhere else in my life, but it just keeps stretching out and stretching out. That's more of a worrisome, energetic place to be. Okay, because that's more like a zombie mentality. Okay, so we have to start really understanding the lines of where we're at in these, I suppose, like lukewarm, okay realities that facilitate well-being, but are not maybe self-actualized. Interesting. Very interesting place. This is not a bad place, but I think that it's a certain like elevation process or surfacing process from, in most cases, a trauma. Getting back to the tarot reading, Sag, we went off on a little tangent there. That was really good in my opinion. That combination of energies is kind of what that's like. Like, try to understand what you don't want anymore. Can you really see the light at the end of the tunnel of this certain like recovery phase, or contrarily a more of a like apathetic or just kind of like flying by the seat of the pants phase? And can you start to walk away from these, I suppose, like nexuses or sources that facilitate it, assuming that you've gotten what you need in your healing process and are ready to like maybe like step out to what is actually like self-actualized for you in your journey. And then, yes, we have the third week of the Tower rooted in by the Five of Wands. So you might be kind of like realizing, or some Sagittarians may realize that they want to conclude with certain journeys. And some are just getting started. Some are choosing to conclude so many other things to just get started with that one that they've been doing for a while, really. It's kind of a weird energy there where it's like something you've been doing for such a long time. You're like, I'm just now getting started. Where I've been doing this like same uphill battle for like 9 years. And I think that now it's really just the beginning. There's something like that could come in. Or you could be like kind of zip lining off of that and moving elsewhere. There is some kind of like maybe competition coming in the third week. Maybe you have like competition for your business, or you have some type of like ladder that you're climbing, which can be kind of a bit of a tower experience. But one way or another, I think that it's a good period of time for you to decide what you want to keep and what you don't want to keep. Good to honor that energy in very simple ways, like clearing out your house or sorting through. Also, like there's a feeling of like treasure versus trash as well, making sure that you're applying that correctly. You might have to be like sorting through an old house, or like you could be requested by like a loved one or a friend to help them like sort through like a storage building or a house or something with that combination. So I feel like, again, it's like fighting the clutter, or also maybe there could be multiple people thinking, you know, that's something we want to keep, that's something we don't want to keep. Maybe you're moving, okay? Could be moving, right, with that second and third week together. Week 3, the Queen of Wands rooted down by the Ten of Wands. Okay, yes, there's some kind of like final push. There's some kind of like a really strong person that you might have to be in the fourth week, but it's going to be good. I feel like you're developing your identity. You're developing who you are now based on this work. Ten of Wands is not always bad. I know that we sometimes give it a hard time on this channel because it comes up so frequently. But yes, you, I feel, have done it, and I feel that you have done the work, and now you may not have to do much more after that point in time in that really extreme way that Ten of Wands tends to represent. The Queen of Wands, of course, is about popularity. It's about style. It's about having a certain edge or sort of fiery character trait to your persona, which it's also like very restful, right? Like it's Queen of Wands is on the throne, so it's very antithetical to Ten of Wands. Also, you could maybe be having someone else in your life who's having to go through Ten of Wands, and you might be having to like make that easier for them, or having to pitch in a helping hand. So one way or another, Sag, I think that you, after the month of May, should be up for a much simpler, easier time. But there is a bit of a push here, some kind of unfinished business. Let's talk more about that in your extended reading. I'll link it below and in the center of your screen. Have a great month, Sag. Bye.